your new EP, Greatest Show on Dirt. My favorite song on there is Red Roses and Red Flags. Because if I see a guy with a Jason mask on, I'm like, hi, love me.
Yeah.
Love me.
Criminal record, narcissist, sociopath. Let's date.
It's a Leo thing. Toxic. Come toward me.
Yeah.
Please come toward me.
Yeah.
It is it's so fun. And you see, I mean, you're so proud of it and you should be.
I mean, listen, sometimes the only way to learn the lesson is to learn it a few times. And maybe it's kind of fun for a second while you learn it. And then you write great songs about it. And then you grow up and you marry a great guy.
Oh, you did marry a great guy. There's that.
I did. Yeah.
I love that guy too. He's a great guy.
I mean, he's really stubborn. He drives me crazy, but he's a good one.
This is the stuff great romances are made of.
He keeps it spicy. You got to keep the spark alive.
We just before we started, we're talking about. I do love horoscopes, and your hubs, Mitchell Tenpenny, and I share the same birthday. Obviously, the same age too.
Yeah, for sure.
Not that I could be his mother. Because I couldn't. I am from Kentucky, so I could be. So Leos are great. Just ask us. And I looked up your birthday because I was curious. You're an Aries. Perfect fit.
Very Aries, yeah. Well, I always say, if there's one thing my husband knows, it's everything. So I think that's a very Leo trait.
I like very Aries. It's a varies.
Yeah. Yeah. I am definitely a classic Aries personality for sure.
Yeah, I mean, just look at your Instagram. You're so strong, fire. I love what's great about you both is, and we won't make this about him, but you are kind of a package deal right now. And I love, because you can do that because you know yourself so well. And that's what I think about when I see the minute I saw when I learned about you at first. You are so clearly know who you are. Yeah,
I mean, and that takes time. And I mean, I'm still figuring it out, but I certainly feel more comfortable in my own skin and more confident in who I am than ever before. And I will say, like you said, we're not going to make it all about him, but because we're talking about him, I think finding a great partner, it changes that for you in a positive way, because I think he loved things about me that I wasn't ready to love about myself. I think he saw things in me that were really positive that I didn't see, but he was just very steady in the way that he loved me. And so I think when you have a partner that they just add to your life, you don't have to give away or give up any part of yourself in order to be loved by them. They just add to the life.
That's the key.
They don't take anything away. They just add.
So funny. I think that's the word, additive. What's the origin story? How did a galoot from Nashville meet a girl from Canada?
I think I'd been in town for not even quite a year, almost a year maybe. And I was sitting in a tree stand at a friend's farm. I was deer hunting, and a friend of mine texted me. She was about to go on a blind date, not with Mitchell, different guy.
A blind date.
Yeah. Right, I know. Actually, I've told this story so many times, I never picked that up.
There you go. Use it.
I totally should.
Give it to you freely.
She texted me and she's like, yeah, I'm going to go meet up with this guy. Will you be my wingman? And I said, yeah, for sure. But I'm 45 minutes out of town. I got to go home and shower and change and stuff. She's like, no, there's no time. Just come as you are. And so I was, in full camo, probably had a little bit of doe pee on me, as one does when they hunt. And so I just showed up to the bar at Losers.
I'm going to act like I do. I know that. Yeah, as one does when they hunt. I know. I hear you, Meg.
Yeah, totally.
I'm a hunter.
But I think at the time, to be honest, I actually was really specifically trying to not date anyone. I had moved to town and quickly dated someone that I didn't need to date. And so I was like, all right, get your head out of your ass and focus on your career. You didn't come here for a boyfriend. You came here for a career. So I figured, who cares if I show up to the bar looking like that? Well, I guess that was a bit of a aphrodisiac for Mitchell Tenpenny. He saw me and I walked in and he's like, who's that?
God. Who smells like dopey? I must have her.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the scent or the camo or what, but he liked me. So that, yeah.
Well, for sure, it's because you were being real.
Yeah, I didn't give a shit. It turns out that's how you get a guy. By not trying to get a guy.
1,000%. It's those. Because I think that's my thing about even dating apps. Like, you can't. Being someone I just told you, got divorced after being married for a long time. Every once in a while I get drunk and I'll sign up for Hinge or something.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, damn it, why'd I do this? Because it's not real. It's not, and never, the only way you ever meet somebody is organically.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I'm sure there's plenty of people that I think like the online dating, like that was a little bit, oh God, I'm going to age myself right now, I guess. It was, I mean, I know Tinder existed before I met Mitchell, but I never really got super into the online dating. I didn't have to, thankfully. But I know some people that have met great people through that.
That's why you go back on. You go, there are stories. So you go, okay, well, maybe I'll try it.
But I'm happy for the way it happened for me.
I think you need to come up.
It just kind of happened organically for sure.
I think you need to come up with a little scent called doe pee. Nothing sexier than that.
Yeah.
I love that.
I guess.
I was thinking of red flags when I heard the song too. It's like, for me, it's the green text bubble. I'm like, no boner if you don't have an iPhoner.
Oh man, it's funny. Mitchell's brother, he's a green bubbler,
and he's that guy, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I'm sure you love him, but he's that guy.
I love him, and he's got a great girl too. But yeah, we do give him shit for ruining all the group chats.
Oh, they're right. And he'll be like, "What? Where? I don't know where we're meeting. Right? Stop it. Get an iPhone.
Yeah."
Use your Android for the great pictures.
He feels really strongly about it, though. So,
because they always do. Sorry, come at me. Come at me, Android users. I don't care. You probably like Dunkin' Donuts coffee better than Starbucks. Okay, I got you. All right, let's talk about hunting.
Okay,
because I want to do it. I feel like
yeah, you should.
Yeah, I really do. Joe Denham, ne'er do well. Trouble. He's like, I'll take you hunting because I want to hunt.
You should.
I feel like I'm a good shot.
That's great.
So, talk to me about hunting.
Yeah, I think anyone who wants to try it absolutely should. I think it's just a great skill to have. I think there's a lot to be gained from it. I didn't really grow up with it. I got into it in my mid to late 20s, I guess.
I was going to ask because you grew up, it looks like, I was kind of looking where you grew up, like in the burbs, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty rural when I was growing up. It's changed a lot now. It's definitely a little bit more suburban, a lot more subdivisions, and definitely has grown a lot. But I mean, I definitely grew up in a rural area, and I definitely loved being outdoors and nature. I liked fishing and stuff like that. But I hadn't really hunted just because I didn't really have anyone in my family that did it. And then a lot of the guys that I grew up with, though, I would go fishing with them, and then fall would come around and they'd be hunting. And my buddy Russ, one time, he had people over and he cooked a bunch of wild game, and it was the first time I'd ever eaten it, and it was so freaking good. And I was like, what is this? He's like, well, that's deer and that's duck. And I was like, and you shot these, you hunted these yourself? And he's like, yeah. I was like, if I go get my license, will you show me the ropes? And he's like, absolutely. And so I did. And yeah, I mean, the first hunt I ever went on, we went turkey hunting. We didn't see anything. We didn't get anything. But I mean, even just that, I loved it. I loved going out there before the sun came up, watching the sun come up, being in the silence, being in nature. That's
what I think I love.
Yeah, it's especially for me now, with my job, being an artist, where you kind of have to be on all the time, the makeup and the hair, and just being your nicest, best self. It's exhausting sometimes, and so it's great for me. It's always a great reset button to just get away from that. I don't have to be done up. I don't have to be on. I can just exist out in nature, and as time went on, after I got into it, it also became a place where I did a lot of praying, and I felt like I got a lot closer to God. And I still feel like I do my best praying and connecting when I'm out in nature. So, I think there's so many benefits to it. And I think too, like, I just think it's an incredibly valuable skill to have. I mean, I like to know that if things got super weird, I could like go out into the wilderness and survive. And things have gotten super weird in the last couple of years. So
Truth.
These are skills I was happy to have, And I also think about, okay, what am I going to pass down to my children? I mean, sure, I'm going to teach them music, and they'll probably play some sports, hopefully do something active. And, I want to teach them how to garden. I want to teach them how to grow their own food. I want to teach them to harvest their own meat, because I think even if you don't end up making a hobby out of hunting, I think going out and doing it will give you a greater appreciation for eating meat and understanding where it comes from. And I take a lot of pride in knowing that the meat that I'm eating it's organic. There's no extra weird stuff in there, and I know that the animal was treated with respect, and they were harvested in a way that was merciful and respectful. And that's really important to me.
Yeah, there's so many life lessons in there. That's amazing. And I take it because you did comment on something I cooked on Instagram that you do value cooking and
love cooking. Yes.
I love that.
Yeah, that's another, it's funny because a lot of times when we're home, I'll be like, I was thinking about making this for dinner. And Mitch will be like, if you're tired, he's like, we can just order something. I'm like, no, I want to cook. For me, I find cooking relaxing. It's one of the few things that I can do where I can stop thinking about everything else and just be like solely focused. There are very few things that I can do without my brain being all over the place. So I find cooking very therapeutic, and it's also kind of like a love language for me. I love to cook for other people. If someone's going through a hard time or they're sad, I'm bringing you some mac and cheese. I'm going to bring you some comfort food. So yeah,
I feel like
I think there's a lot of great things about it.
I feel like food is love. I do feel like that, and
totally.
And to me, same, very cathartic, and also it's tangible. Like at the end, it's almost like cleaning. Like if you do want to escape.
I hate cleaning. That I would absolutely be happy to never clean again in my life.
I like things to look nice.
I like things to look nice too. I just don't want to be the one to make them look nice.
I got you.
I'm kind of a messy person. I'm a creative type, It's like I have a hard time staying focused on one task. I can get very distracted. I might be trying to clean, and then I get an idea, and then I'm sitting down with my guitar, and and then the cleaning doesn't happen. And
have you done the Enneagram?
Oh yeah.
What are you?
Type 8. Big time.
Oh, I know so many 8s.
Yeah, 8 with probably a 7 wing. Although I feel like as I get older, I'm leaning more into that 9 wing. I've calmed down a little bit. I'm not as well. And interestingly enough, I got into the Enneagram thing over COVID because I was trying to do something, and I feel like it helped me so much doing that, and then going to therapy. I feel like it helped me learn so much about myself, and not only about myself, but also the way other people perceive me and my like behaviors and the way I approach things. What I think is being passionate and direct is sometimes perceived as being a little abrasive and aggressive, and that's not my intention, but I've started to learn how other people perceive me, and I think it's helped me to be more self-aware and learn how to adjust those things so that I can have better relationships and be perceived the way I really am.
That's so funny. That's great for you to get that at your age, because I think I have those characteristics as well. And people will say, oh, you're intimidating. I'm like, I'm intimidated. What?
Sounds like you're just intimidated.
Yeah, a little like, that's the least of my intentions.
Yeah.
But I'm a 7.
Okay.
Like I'm a yippee.
You could have an 8 wing though.
You know what? Right now, it made me think. Right now, I'm actually, what's the one that's super
so you would be
organized? Because I think right now, when my wing right now is...
Yeah, it would be, if you're a 7, it would be an 8 or a 6. It's whatever's on either side. From what I've read, I don't know if you can have, I think the wing has to be like
either
next
side of
to,
it?
but I don't know. I mean, I'm no professional, but.
Probably an 8 then, because 8's more like.
And your wing can vary.
Norma Ray, like kind of, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, 7 is, that is one problem with hunting. I definitely am a ready, fire, aim person.
Yeah, you might have a hard time sitting still.
What?
And being patient.
What? You've known me for 5 minutes. Okay, you nailed it. Now, I understand. I forget who told me this. Oh, you know who told me this? Sally. Remember Sally?
Yes.
She loves you.
Love Sally.
I said, I'm talking to Meg tomorrow. She goes, ask her about her first tattoo, which does relate to hunting, right?
It's not my first tattoo, but I do have a tattoo related to hunting. I have a couple actually, but I do. She was probably thinking, this is my first buck.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and that's the coordinates where I shot him.
Oh, that's cool.
Underneath. But yeah.
And then I commented, where's the one from the airport recently?
Right here.
Yeah. Tell that story.
My guitar fits in the overhead. So yeah, we had a weekend run in Canada, and me and my guitar player, it's just always a constant battle with flight attendants about, trying to get us to check our guitars. Excuse me.
Same. Allergies.
And, here's the thing is like, I'm not trying to be a pain in the ass. I've had 2 guitars broken by airlines. Neither time did they pay for or replace anything or repair anything. I had to pay out of pocket for that. I also showed up at a show at a rodeo in the middle of nowhere with a broken guitar and couldn't play. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to advocate for myself to get my guitar in the overhead and protect it, because also it's legally they literally changed it. It's Section 403 of the FAA Modernization and Reform Act says that if my guitar fits in the overhead, I am allowed to put it in the overhead. And I've had this argument many times. And here's the thing. I know what my motivations are behind why I'm advocating for myself. What are yours? Because as the flight attendant, like half the time you're not even getting on this flight. You will probably never even see me again. So why are you arguing so hard for me to not protect my instrument? Because the thing is too, is other people, like the other people on the flight, they don't really care. Mm-hmm. If I said, hey guys, I've got a really expensive fragile guitar. You mind if I take up a little extra space up here? It's not like their underwear and their toothbrush are, going to be at risk if they're not up there. And so, and a lot of the times too, I pay extra to board early to make sure I do that. And I was tired of it. We had a altercation with a flight attendant on the way into Seattle. It was my birthday weekend. And so we all knew we were going to go get a tattoo for my birthday. And my guitar player jokingly was like, I should just get my guitar fits in the overhead tattooed on me. And I looked at him, I said, I will if you will. He goes, absolutely. So
never dare me to do anything. I love that. Now
we're just like, please, I'm begging you to tell me I can't put this on here, and just wham.
Then do that and show her your gun.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
like, you want to mess with this gun? By the way, you have great legs.
Oh, thanks.
Way to show them off.
Thank my dad for that.
Them gams.
Genetics and a lot of working out.
I'm trying so hard. Let me just clear this, and I'm not going to edit this out, but I just got to... Thank you. Allergies are so freaking bad right now.
Especially here. Yep.
Let's talk about your most significant tattoo, the one that means the most to you. If they're like, you got to get rid of all your tattoos, you can keep one.
That's so hard to... There's a few that... I feel like right now...
I love this one.
This is my newest one.
That looks great on your skin.
And this was... I wanted to get a tattoo for, the year of MFP. The last couple years were incredibly challenging for me. The worst of my career yet. And it's been interesting because I've confided in a few people about that in the last little while, and they've all said, wow, like I had no idea. It always seemed like you were just killing it, and that's the nature of the highlight reel, on social media. But yeah, the reality behind the scenes, it's been incredibly frustrating and challenging for me in the last couple of years. Obviously COVID was not great for anybody, but there was a lot of changes, leaving my first label, Warner, and changing management and kind of going through a pretty hellish experience in cutting some very toxic people out of my life that really did a lot of damage to just my career and me mentally and emotionally. And I think the part about that was really sad is that when I felt like things were slipping away. I felt like I had gotten the success and I had gotten to this certain place in my career, and then it felt like it was just slipping away and it was all just gone. And when that happens, you get a little desperate. And I was desperate, and I was writing music that way, and I was chasing a career that way, and it's never going to be a positive thing. You know, I was listening to a lot of opinions about who I needed to be and what kind of music I needed to make, and those opinions were coming from people that didn't really know me. They saw, you know, 10% of who I was and created an image and a brand in their mind that they felt was like palatable to the industry. And I chased it for a long time because I just wanted so badly to just be working again and to be back on the road and just to be seen and not feel so invisible. And when that didn't work, I did everything everyone asked of me, every single thing. And then it didn't work. And then I got frustrated and I finally said, you know what? I'm just going to write the music that I want to write. I mean, because I gave them everything they asked for and they didn't do anything with it. So I'm going to just make music that I want to make. I'm going to start saying the things I want to say and dressing the way I want to dress. And, you know, I'm just going to freaking be myself. And I think that resulted in the best songs I've ever written. That's, you know, we're starting with a taste of that with the EP. I was just in the studio last week, so we've got more coming this year and more next year. I mean, I think I'm just so excited to get these songs out because I really do think they are the most authentic and honest songs I've made. And I say that like, it's not, I don't think I've ever been inauthentic. I don't think I've ever not been real. I think I was just being as authentic as I was capable of at the time, and not even realizing that there was more to me that I was maybe even subconsciously keeping buried or keeping hidden, because it's terrifying to expose yourself to a large audience because the internet is wild and people are mean and people are judgmental. And you have to really truly be strongly rooted in yourself and confident in yourself to reach that like next level of authenticity and openness.
And I don't even think people understand like what you're like when you are your product. You are. When
my songs are me.
Yeah.
So when you say my song sucks, like that hurts my feelings a little bit.
Right. Yeah. And I don't think people understand that. Like I genuinely do not. And you know, sitting here hearing you tell your story, like I teared up a little just because it's the story of. I mean, hopefully anybody listening can relate to just in your darkest moments, though. Sometimes that's where
the magic happens.
It truly is that you've got to come, because that you'll come up and out of it in a way that you find yourself, you didn't even know you were lost.
Yeah.
Until to say, I can so relate, because it takes kind of being jacked around some to be.
Well, for me, I definitely thrive on being the underdog, you know, and I think too, like I also was going through my own journey at the same time with my faith, and you know, I didn't grow up going to church. That was not really a part of my raising. That was something that I came into on my own as an adult. And, you know, when all of that happened, it shook my faith a little bit, because I kept saying like, God, you know, you gave me this gift and you gave me this passion for what I do. Why would you give me that if I wasn't meant to do it? Why isn't this happening? Why am I not getting this success? And, you know, it was really frustrating. And obviously, you know, that's what led me to get to this better place just creatively and as a person. And I think at the time, I see the silver lining of that is when the career stuff was taken away, I was forced to either be miserable every day and think about all the things I didn't have, or I could turn my attention to what I did have, which was amazing friends, great family, an amazing husband, a beautiful house, and 3 dogs, and a working, healthy body, and there were lots of things for me to be grateful for. And now that I feel things starting to pick back up again, and it feels like the career side of things are starting to happen again, I'm praying to God. I'm saying, yeah, God, I still want this, but don't let me lose sight of these other things that I found a new appreciation of. I'm not willing to trade or sacrifice any of these other things in order to get this success. Keep me humble and keep me mindful of the things that really matter at the end of the day.
Because it's easy to get swept away. Yeah. Very easy, I think. And
a lot of dark shit in this industry.
Yeah. And I think easy, not to play the woman card, but I think women do, we put a lot of hats on, and I don't even want to say please, because that's not quite it. It's just,
oh, for sure,
we approach things differently, and
we have to.
Yeah.
We've had to adapt to doing that. And I mean, it sucks sometimes. It's frustrating sometimes. But you know what? It is what it is.
And to your point, it's also wildly rewarding in a way that I think there is depth to. And
for sure.
Yeah.
And I think also it's like, at the end of the day, it's not impossible. You see women thrive and kill it in this industry all the time. So it's possible. You have to figure out your own way of how you want to do that. And also, I'm married to an artist. It's not like it's easy for him just because he's a guy.
Yeah.
He has his own set of things that he has to deal with, and we help each other through that. But I just try and choose. I'm aware of the fact that I'm a woman, obviously, and that things are different sometimes, but I'm just not willing to take on a victim mentality or approach things from that way. I'm going to approach it from, okay, I see how the cards are laid out for me. Well, I don't care about that. I'm going to just go ahead and do what I want anyway. And you can either get out of my way or you can hop on board.
That's exactly
that's
what I've always said. I'm like, I know the challenges. I don't want to be a woman complaining about what I'm not getting. I want to be the badass woman getting it.
Amen.
I think you've already kind of covered this, but the subtext of the Kelly Ford Show is the Nashville truth. So I consider you a truth teller.
Okay.
You don't seem like you're sugarcoating shit. So
sometimes to my detriment. Sometimes maybe I should add a little sugar.
My granny used to say.
My manager's laughing over there.
My granny was the best. Granny Mary used to say all of her stuff was great. Of course, she acted not prim. She was never prim and proper, but she used to say, "You get more with sugar than shit." And her other great saying was,
"Catch more flies with honey than vinegar."
Yeah, she used to say, "The wind blew and the shit flew and you couldn't see for an hour or two."
What?
Yeah, she was great.
And Southern people have some weird stuff they say.
She was the best. I check I'm really afraid my computer is really making a very loud fan noise. I'm going to turn down some apps while you tell me. But I think you really did. Like what's your Nashville truth? Like the truth about Nashville.
I think the truth about Nashville is it's whatever you make it. I think first and foremost, it starts with figuring out, first of all, there's more than one way to be successful in this town. There are a lot of different people that you can become successful with. And I think it's important to align with people who share the same morals and work ethic as you do. And I've certainly found that finally with my management over at Make Wake and my label, Riser House. I love that I'm at an indie label that's blazing its own trail. I love that I'm with a management company that values fans and being good people and doing things the right way, even when it's the hard way. And so I think if you don't seek out those things first, surrounding yourself with good people, not just successful people, this town will eat you alive. But if you start with finding the right people to align yourself with who have the same ideas about how you do things and who are willing to put in the work to do things the hard way sometimes because it's the right way, I think, also just the mentality that there are no rules. What, just because everybody else does it one way, why would you want to do what everyone else is doing? That sounds boring to me. Yeah. I would rather blaze my own trail. And if you find people that are willing to take that leap with you, I think you can be pretty unstoppable.
I think, by the way, now that we got so into your story about the tattoo. We didn't talk about. People
I didn't even say what it was. Yeah. So yeah, long story short,
bringing it back around.
I got a Phoenix Rising tattooed, and to me that just felt like the perfect way to encompass like what this year has been for me. And it's, we're only about halfway through, and it's already been absolutely incredible. I mean, I've had my Opry debut. I got to put new music out. I got a single with Michael Ray that's on the highway, which I've never been on before.
Fire. And you just posted, that was the cutest thing you posted the other day about it.
I mean, I have dreamed about hearing my voice on the highway for a very long time. And it's really cool too, especially because my friends back home in Canada, they're, every time it comes on, they're all texting me like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. This is so cool. Because I mean, even the times when I've gotten like features to get played on like American terrestrial radio, my friends back home don't hear, but for them to hear me on the highway, that feels like, damn, like you've made it. That's amazing. And so I'm very grateful to Michael Ray and his team for, I mean, I'm sure he could have had his pick. It's such a hit song. I'm sure he could have had his pick of any girl, and it means so much to me that he gave me that opportunity.
Y'all's voices sound great together.
I think we really do sound great together. I love singing it with him. He's got a great band. He's a great performer.
He's another good boy.
He is. I like him. He has always been kind and respectful to me. From what I've seen about his team, he does things the same way. He cares about treating people right and doing things the right way. I mean, that's certainly been our experience with them, which is great. So yeah, like I said, it fits with what our goals are, aligning with people that are the same, want to do things the same way. So, but yeah, the thing about the Phoenix is it will continue to rise from the ashes. It'll reinvent itself over and over again. It doesn't stay down. And that felt like a perfect metaphor for what I've been through. I really do feel like I'm rising from the ashes right now.
I do think when you talk about faith, when you talk about life as your big sister, I think that's what you need to remind yourself, what I need to remind myself of every day. And this last year has been really tough for me too. I think you just need to remember it really isn't, it sounds so trite, but it isn't, it's hard to not get wrapped up in the destination.
Yeah.
And go, it really is.
A marathon, not a sprint.
It truly is. And it's hard to forget.
It is hard. It's so easy to listen. This town, it'll hurt. It'll hit you hard. And I mean, I think at the end of the day, you just have to be willing to not give up. Yeah. You got to outwork everybody else. You got to outlast everybody else, because as many talented people come through this town, a lot of them will not last. They will either find other interests or things that they want to pursue, or they'll give up.
Yeah.
I won't be giving up. Yeah. At the end of the day, there's no world that exists where I'm not making music. I mean, it's a part of who I am. It's not just my job. It's ingrained in me. And so knowing that, I mean, every time I get frustrated, I go, well, what are you going to do, Megan? Are you going to quit? And the answer is always no. So
which is
keep on keeping on.
Honestly, should be an inspiration to anybody, no matter what you do. That's what life's about, I think, is the challenge of getting back up no matter how bad things get.
Yep.
It's so very true.
Got to ask yourself how bad you want it.
I've never been to Canada.
Really?
Yes. What should I know about Canada?
Well, we got beautiful, I guess I'm speaking more specifically to Ontario. We have great lakes, great lake fishing, really nice summer weather. You get out west and you've got the mountains. Out east is also, I love all the, PEI, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland. It's very, to me, PEI is about as far east as you can get in Canada. Mm-hmm. It's a very small island. It's actually Cavendish Beach Festival is there. Mitchell just played there last weekend. It's nice. A big festival in Canada. It's really fun. People are really nice. We got
no, you're not.
We got poutine.
Sounds dirty.
We got legal weed.
Yes. Why are you guys nicer?
I don't know that it's nicer necessarily. I mean, I think a lot of people in the South are really nice too. I don't know. I think that everybody just wants to kind of get along
Yeah.
there. It's
Nobody's on your back, really.
no. I mean,
You're kind of a cool country. Like, you're like just you're like, I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I'm very grateful for where I grew up, and I'll always go back to Canada and play there. I love the fans. I mean, absolutely love the country fans in Canada. People don't understand how much Canadians love country. Like, they're always shocked by that. And I'm telling you, I'm like, man, listen, we got rednecks in the north too. We got country lovers.
How are they shocked by? I don't understand how they're shocked by that. I mean, Terry Clark's a buddy of mine.
That's my girl. I love Terry.
She's great.
Yeah.
We did the morning show together in here in town.
Oh,
but
nice.
I love her.
She is an absolute gem, and she's been a great friend and kind of mentor to me. I mean, she was the one that told me about my Opry debut.
I know. I love
news
that.
to me, and she also, her and Gord Bamford cut a song that I wrote and made it a radio single a little while back. So I was like, man, I don't even care what this song gets to. I have a Terry Clark cut, and that is freaking awesome, and nobody can take that away
I'm
from
sure
me.
she feels the same way. Like, I'm sure
I was really excited.
That's pretty cool. And growing up, I'm sure, I mean, people don't understand. Obviously, Shania is huge, but there she's like Mother Teresa.
She's the queen, yep.
Yeah. I just went to see her at the new soccer stadium.
Oh, nice.
So good.
I saw her play like, oh my gosh, probably almost 10 years ago. And it was great. I haven't seen like the more recent show though.
This will totally date me, but I remember right when I was starting in radio, I was doing one of the old school CMA remotes at the old Opryland.
Okay.
And I went to Cracker Barrel, and this was her first interviews. And I remember like seeing her at the table near me thinking, oh, I just interviewed that girl.
Yeah.
Like literally her first year.
Wow.
And then she became Shania.
Crazy.
Eileen. Shania is Ojibwe. Is that a... Shoot, I think it's
Maybe.
Indian name.
I don't want to misquote that.
That may be the one thing I edit if I got that wrong. I'd like to not edit these.
Hey, no, I'm all for being unedited.
Also, I brought a little something. I think we'll wrap it up. I don't know what else. What else do you want to talk about? I think we cover. I wanted to get Spirits and Demons in.
Yeah, I'm just keep streaming our song, and stay tuned for some more new music from me soon.
Take me hunting.
Sure.
Goodwill hunting.
Let's do it. We could. You should come out with me for our dove hunt. We do a dove hunt at my friend's farm in September.
Yes.
It's really fun. It's really casual. It's a great way for like someone who's new to hunting to kind of like get eased into it. And also, dove is delicious to eat. So
sweet little dove. It'll be our first blind date.